Hi again, this is the third video in my week 5 installment of my patent engineering video blog. So let's say you have this super nifty app that you're about to launch and you know you're going to make billions of dollars off of it. The next week, you receive a mail saying that you've infringed on somebody else's patent. Oh no, what do? Well, first of all, you need to calm down. And second, you have to see whether their lawsuit has any basis at all. So you should look up the patent that they say you're apparently infringing upon and read it. Now, it sounds pretty simple, but as I have learned in the last lecture that I went to, reading patents is not exactly a walk in the park. It's a little bit complicated and can take anywhere from a couple of hours to a few days to fully understand the patent. But if you're in a rush and you don't exactly have time to figure out whether or not you're infringing upon the patent, you should follow some of these tips that I found in a blog by Dan Shapiro that allows you to read a patent in 60 seconds or less. Tip number 1, you should do a lot of skipping. When I say skipping, I mean skip reading most of it. Skip the title, skip the drawing, skip the abstracts, skip the specification, and skip the dependent claims. Now let's go into why exactly you can skip all of this material when someone had to go to the trouble of writing it up. Well, to begin with, there's the title. The title can be as general or as specific as the author wants it to be. Therefore, it might actually tell you absolutely nothing about the patent itself. As a matter of fact, a lot of titles actually talk about the thing that is being improved upon instead of the actual improvement or invention. Then there's the drawing, which can be extremely complicated and super hard to understand. Unless the drawing is something really obvious and the only way to fully describe the invention, you probably don't really need to spend time deciphering someone else's artwork. When it comes to abstracts, usually they're super helpful because they give you a summary of what you're about to expect. Unfortunately, patent abstracts are actually kind of misleading, confusing, and they tend to be worded weirdly, so you might as well not waste time reading that either. The specification is often long-winded and also confusing. You won't get much out of trying to decipher it, so you might as well just move on. Lastly, there are the dependent claims. What dependent claims are really just a more detailed description of the independent claims. In other words, if you've infringed upon the dependent claims, you definitely infringe on the independent claims, so you might as well just read the independent claims instead. So that comes to tip number 2. Read the independent claims and read them carefully. If they're going to get you on anything, it's going to be on the independent claims. If the claim reads on your invention, you know that your plaintiff has a legitimate case. But if something doesn't match, you can turn around and be like, hey, this isn't right. You can't sue me because the claims don't actually read onto my invention. But claims themselves can also be kind of, confusing, long-winded, and a little bit snooze-inducing. But luckily for you, independent claims are restricted to 1 sentence. So hopefully they'll be a little bit shorter, and since you didn't waste all your time reading the other stuff, you won't be as exhausted when you try to figure out these independent claims. So calm down, take a deep breath, sit down and try to parse through the semicolon separated independent claims. It'll help make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into and to see if there's even a case to worry about at all. And of course, if you're still struggling and you feel like you needed some more help, there are a lot of resources on the internet and there are a lot of easy ways to find them. And if you really, really need the help, you can always get yourself a lawyer.